When you're employed by the DOJ, Department of Justice, you just have to think things through before you actually make life-changing decisions, and that's one thing you always have to keep in mind, that no matter what scheme you actually try to um, pull off or, acquire, and if to you it could be the simplest thing, like, coming up on a couple of tires for your truck, or a fender or any kind of part for a vehicle that's a part you can use, fuel, uh, any kind of assortments of actual, you know, federal property, basically federal property, and you had to be careful. And like I've stated in other videos, I, for me, especially when I had 3 days off, when I had 4 on, 3 days off, I just prefer to leave my service weapon with the armor because that's 3 days. I didn't carry it. It was if I had to travel, then I would actually have my credentials and my weapon with me. That for sure. But if I was just gonna be off for 3 days, I mean, I was not gonna need it, And it's not like I didn't have access to any at home, So I would just rather just leave it there with the armor and just, you know, come back and get it when I come back on duty, And it just that's just the way it was. I was more comfortable and have to deal with worrying about security and about anybody, breaking into the house or whatever. And you know, um, there was this one agent that actually reported his service weapon stolen in a home burglary, and that's a big deal. You know what I mean? It's your service weapon, and it's they were, I think, 40 calibers at the time, and and it was a law enforcement grade, actual service weapon. And when you actually do that initial report, you got to report it to your local PD, and then if the feds get involved, of course the FBI is going to be actually questioning you and trying to get to the bottom of it, and they're going to pull every resource they can to actually somebody's surveillance videos or any kind of actual evidence to pursue to actually have an arrest made on this actual theft of this weapon. It's going to happen, and apparently this one agent, veteran agent at that, he reported his gun stolen on a home burglary, and it resulted that it was a false report, and he got charged with actually lying to a federal officer, to the FBI. And I think the end result was on paper that he actually misplaced it or he lost it. If that was true or not, he knows, and but he did have to replace that actual service weapon, and he got a couple of years for that. A couple of years for actually lying to a federal officer. Had to pay for that service weapon back, and had to look for new employment. You know, and you just have to think things through. And it's not gonna be easy. And it's not easy being questioned, and it's not comfortable being questioned by the FBI. Trust me, it's not. And we had this other individual, but he was actually customs. He was customs, and he was originally from a southwestern state, close to the border. And when he applied for actual customs, he was actually under the impression he was going to get stationed somewhere nearby, here near his family and near his actual hometown. And this is just my opinion, but I think he had other plans, nefarious. I think he had other goals that involved, a cartel or some relatives, and a little bit of smuggling operation. But that was just my opinion. I never said anything, but um, I mean, he stated that he missed his family, and he just, he wanted to be closer to home, right? Because from the start, he got actually assigned. I forget if it was Michigan or Minnesota, one of them actual cold states. It was a cold state, and he actually started making up stories of actual fear for his life through threats. He made it seem like he was actually um, being under threats from some kind of organization or an individual, and he was scared for his life and for his family's life. Therefore, he wanted to get transferred to a different port. And he even went as far as doing a self-infliction wound. He shot himself. Actually shot himself and made it appear as if he was an actual target by a certain person or group. And of course, that's all going to fall apart. There's witnesses. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that actually has to be investigated. And you're a federal officer. How is the FBI not going to get involved? And again, you just have to think things through. And he didn't actually consider that. You know what I mean? And yeah, he shot himself, and he got charged with lying, and a couple of other more discharging a weapon. And if he was in the military, he would have got charged with actually destroying government property, because you are government property at that point. But he wasn't. He was just regular Fed officer. But yeah, he got caught lying too, and he got a couple of years and lost his job. And now he can go home. You know what I mean? Now he can go home, and that's just the way it was. Okay, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe.